When I started doing trading, I got a little tired of mathematics. I was in my late 30s, had a little money. I started trading, and it went very well. I made quite a lot of money with pure luck. I mean, I think it was pure luck. It certainly wasn't mathematical modeling. You're looking for anomalies. Any one anomaly might be a random thing. However, if you have enough data, you can tell that it's not.
Hello. On coming Tuesday the 4th of May, GILT will release the first quarter 2021 earnings and hold an earnings call at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. There has been some huge announcements in the last 2 weeks that we need to look at, as I believe these first quarter results could be game changing for GILT. Furthermore, I've drilled into the biggest institutional investor in GILT, and I think this is something I previously overlooked on how critical this is and what it actually means. Stay tuned. Keep it simple. For those of you new to the channel, I am the Simple Trader, and I bring to you WPG stocks, yes, explosive exponential potential growth stocks that I'm looking to buy or already have sitting in my freedom portfolio. I'm not a financial advisor, so please understand this is all for entertainment only. Full disclosure, I do have a position in GILT, and it is one of my highest conviction stocks. No more plugging, let's start drilling. April 19th. GILT announced that they have been awarded over $20 million in orders for support of gateways of low Earth orbit constellation. This comes for Wavestream, who are a subsidiary of GILT and involves their PowerStream 160 kA SSPAs. These are designed specifically for networks using wide bandwidth uplinks and high order modulation schemes. The contract is with a leading satellite operator, which remains undisclosed. April 22nd, GILT receives another $5 million contract for cellular backhaul over satellite expansion from a Tier 1 mobile network carrier in, check this, Japan. The mobile carrier will utilize SkyEdge 2C platform, which will enable coverage to rural zones that are lacking fiber access, as well as to provide emergency response in the case of earthquakes or other natural disasters. They go on to note this win adds on to other Japanese and worldwide Tier 1 operators who are benefiting from GILT's leading cellular backhaul technology. This is big proof of concept for me, as Japan, being a country ripe in technological advancements, is clearly backing the leading edge solutions that GILT can offer. April 26, a Tier 1 telco in Latin America awarded GILT over $3 million to provide broadband connectivity over satellite to support bridging the digital divide. The project includes thousands of ESATs to be deployed in remote schools to further children's education in Latin America and is expected to further expand. This for me is huge, and for a company to be making money but also helping some of the poorer countries and less fortunate children in the world is something that I believe shareholders of GILT should take pride in knowing. Finally, on April the 29th, GILT released news that they have received a critical milestone in Peru with approval to enter operational phase, which will unlock access to, check this, recurring revenue of multi-million dollars per annum. This is related to their project awarded in 2015 for an aggregate value of $108 million back then. Entering this phase of the project essentially signals the start of the recurring revenue stream of multi-million dollars every year for the next 10 years, in addition to selling services of the network. This is such a big deal that I think many investors have overlooked. I believe the potential here could be exponential in the coming years ahead. The stock has generally been flatlining around $9 to $10 since the end of March. This coincided with the big tech stock correction and is generally still not recovered yet, although I think this may be a strong resistance point from here on for GILT stock, which means I believe we could be set for a run up. When we look at the institutional ownership, it appears to also be trending up, and check this out. On FinViz, it is showing a 50% institutional ownership. This could well be an error because the figures just don't add up when compared to many other sites such as Morningstar, MarketBeat, or even Fintel. But if they are correct, then this is just ginormous. And this brings us to the largest institutional owner of Gilat, Renaissance Technologies.
Who are you?
If you've not heard of Renaissance Technologies, well, they are simply the most profitable hedge fund in history. Let me repeat that. The most profitable hedge fund in history.
Welcome back, everybody. The most successful moneymaker in modern finance, Jim Simons, has annual returns of his flagship fund Medallion that have actually outpaced those of Warren Buffett, George Soros, or Ray Dalio. The historically tight-lipped investor has finally spoken out to our next guest. Joining us right now is Greg Zuckerman. He's the author and special writer for the Wall Street Journal. His new book is out today. It's called The Man Who Solved the Market: How Jim Simons Launched the Quant Revolution. And I read the article over the weekend and loved it. I think it's incredible to think about a guy who, when he was 40 years old, quit his profession teaching math, turned around and launched in a strip mall on Long Island. How did he make it to these levels?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing. You would think the greatest modern day moneymaker on Wall Street would be somebody who had some experience on Wall Street, and yet he's a complete outsider. Mathematician, was a code breaker, and as you suggest, for years struggled trying to find the formula to make it in the market, finally turned the corner, and the rest is history. But there's a lot of kind of lessons there for kind of everybody, I think.
Jim Simons is the founder of Renaissance Technologies and is a legendary mathematician. His early works in the field of mathematics eventually led to string theory, which in itself is another topic for discussion. As of February 2021, he is estimated to be worth $23 billion by Forbes, making him the 23rd richest person in the US.
By my background as a mathematician, we manage funds whose trading is determined by mathematical formulas. We operate only in highly liquid, publicly traded securities, meaning we don't trade in credit default swaps or collateralized debt obligations or some of those alphabet soup things that George was just referring to. Our trading models actually tend to be contrarian, often buying stocks recently out of favor and selling those recently in favor.
Think about it this way. This guy is a living genius, and he has found a niche to apply his craft. Medallion, the main fund of Renaissance Technologies, has earned over $100 billion in trading profits since its inception in 1988. This equates to a 66.1% gross return, or a 39.1% average return from 1988 to 2018. Unfortunately though, don't get your hopes high because Medallion is not open to outside investors. Renaissance Technologies manages 3 other funds which totaled approximately $55 billion in combined assets, which is available to outside investors.
But it can last for somebody who's actually getting massive outperformance. What does he think about hedge funds in general and who can do what he can do?
Yeah, no one really does what they do. One of the lessons from this story, I think, is how difficult it is for the traditional kind of investor to try to beat people like Jim Simons and other people. Their ideas, what they do that's different from others, they basically go for 5,000 or so stocks long, 5,000 or so short. And they're doing trades that are relative to other things, relative to indexes, relative to the rest of the market, to other groups of stocks.
Now, Renaissance Technologies' portfolio has Gilat ranked at number 966th position with a 0.01 portfolio weighting. Remember, this is a ginormous fund, and I ain't joking when I say this, and there are a total of 3,943 stocks within this fund, meaning Gilat actually ranks quite well. It may be of a side interest to know that some of these top 10 holdings you may not have looked into or heard of before, so it may well be worth taking a closer look at why the world's historically top performing hedge fund has these in their top 10. After drilling through Renaissance Technologies and what they are all about, plus the legend himself in Jim Simons. The fact that they are the largest institutional owner of GILT now puts more conviction into my position in this stock for the long term. To summarize, I believe the earnings call will provide blockbuster results for GILT. Whether the market reacts positively is another thing entirely. I mean, we saw huge results for NEO stock, but the stock went down. I think the markets are really volatile at this moment, so as an investor, try to look longer term on this one, and long term, I think $10 is a steal. I loaded in some more shares of GILT on Thursday, and I plan to load in more on the coming Monday. We will see where this goes in a few months' time, and it really depends on the overall tech stock appetite in the market. As a retail investor, the only thing we have on our side is time, and as American billionaire investment analyst, author, and the founder and chairman of Fisher Investments, Kenneth Lawrence Fisher, once said, "Timing the markets beats timing the markets."
Trying to time the market's a bad idea. Others will tell you it's a good idea. The history of the market's simple in that in the very long term, there's a real return that's been pretty good compared to other liquid assets. And that real return has included every bear market and every down day and everything that you might have ever known from history to be afraid about or that you might be afraid about now. Most people who try to time the market can't do it successfully because the key to timing the market is to somehow, some way know something that other people don't know, for good or for bad. That's important and that will move prices. And most people don't have any of that. Most people try to time the market based off of the exact same information, the exact same type of stuff that all their friends talk about.
So invest in the stocks and companies you truly believe in, and if you have done your due diligence, the rewards will come. If you are interested in WPG stocks that I have in my Freedom portfolio, please check out my other videos and just consider subscribing to my channel so you get the information first. I am the Simple Trader, and I try to keep this simple, and will simply see you next time.